welcome. A lot of attendees on this call. We have 480 people here, VCs, founders, CMOs, like you name the job title, you're probably in this chat. Jeremy was on the Amazon event in New York. So we have some Amazon leaders here as well. Bunch of awesome companies as well when I went through the list too. So welcome. I'm really glad you can join us. And if you're here, you probably feel a bit like this. You have an incumbent giant in your midst. They probably have a domain rating or DR of 80 plus, 90 plus. They have a huge amount of traffic and they have a huge amount of brand awareness. You know this because when you tell your friends or your family what you do, they go, oh, so you're like inside industry giant name over here. And the way you're thinking right now is, I don't think SEO is going to work here, mainly because there's this big guy who keeps hoovering up all the traffic terms. He's the guy that's bidding really aggressively on Google ads. He's the guy that's running TV advertisements like Monday or Asana. He's the guy who's everywhere on Facebook and Instagram. So if that's you, you're in the right place. We've all been there and we all currently are there in some degree. And we're going to walk through some really interesting strategies about how to navigate this world and actually get organic traffic and get really qualified leads or qualified customers, whether it be B2B or B2C, to your store/website, sort of on autopilot. And you'll have scenarios, which I hope like this in the next couple of months, where you're in a group chat somewhere, you're like saying to maybe your head of SEO or Victor saying, Dan, did you just get these guys ranking above Healthline? Or in this specific example, above Healthline, Forbes, WebMD. That's the sort of scenario you want to have for you guys, where a DR30 site or domain rating 30 site can outrank all these incumbent giants. Awesome. So a bit about us, the story for all of those who we've never met before. My name is Amin. I'm the head of growth at Alpha Well Brands. We're a portfolio of consumer brands. So we own Europe's largest CBD marketplace. We acquired an Amazon brand at the start of the year. We own some media sites, many of which are not included on this slide. And we also built out an in-house SEO agency called New Optima over the last couple of years. We serve 20 clients. They're normally VC backed, and we work across B2C, B2B, SaaS, fintech, cyber tech, pretty much touched every industry. And we're VC backed. So we've raised over 4 million. And then on the call also, you have Victor, who's the SEO genius. He's been doing SEO for 15 years. So I'll tout his horn for him. Worked on a ridiculous number of projects. So whenever we get asked, have you worked on this? Victor's always pulling up screenshots from this old hard drive, showing how he's done it before already. And not on this call is Alexi, our CEO, who won't be here to join us. And we have a bunch of case studies you can go through at your will, but this point is just to show you that we have SEO expertise. We've done this for a long time, and we want to just share everything we've learned with you guys completely for free. Awesome. So in terms of agenda, we're first going to talk about the opportunities. Where do we see winning in the SEO game against industry giants? And that's first part of the presentation. I'm then going to give you 3 very actionable and in-depth SEO tactics that will help you outrank the big dogs. And we'll give you really exact examples of how you can do that in your business. And then we're going to walk through some budgets for an SEO challenger strategy. So what does that mean? And all these strategies, how much does it even cost to carry them out? So it's one thing to say, this is a way to do it. It's another thing to execute. So to kick it off, before we launch and go into the opportunities, I've launched a poll. Are you guys currently executing an SEO strategy? Yes, no, or thinking about it? And this will help, again, us really tailor this presentation towards you guys. And for context, we launch a lot of polls during webinars, so we'll launch a few more. And if you have any questions throughout the presentation, just hit them in the chat. If it's relevant for that point in time, Victor and I will take them there and then, or we'll hold them for the end of the Q&A. Awesome. So everyone has answered, which is awesome. So we have 36% are executing an SEO strategy, 22% are not executing an SEO strategy, and 42%, which is actually the bulk of the group, are thinking about executing an SEO strategy, which is very interesting. I should launch a poll saying, what are you thinking about? I'm curious to hear, but we'll hold that for a bit later. Cool. And let's kick it off then. So here's a question for everyone. If these were your competitors, would you be hopeful or fearful? So you can send a message in the chat. Your competitors are actionnetwork.com. They are, and The Athletic. They're both sport publications. They have domain rating 7482. They have 2.2 million organic search traffic on Action Network, and The Athletic has 17.9 million organic traffic. Are you hopeful or are you fearful? Awesome. Fearful. Randons and hopeful. Fearful, but bring it on. Oh, I love that, Andrea. Perfect. Fearful. I have some hopefuls there, which is interesting. So what usually happens is everyone says one thing and then it was like, crap, it must be a trick question. Let's just say the other one. That was counterintuitive. I'd be needing new nappies. Amazing. Of course I'd be here. How do I compete with that? Also, this is the feeling that we're getting. Okay, so we're generally fearful as a group, which is okay. We had a client who came to us and said, these are my competitors. How the hell do I start competing against these guys? I think they had 10K search traffic at the time. And it's counterintuitive, but competitors with large traffic volumes are a good thing. When we see this, I used to get very fearful, and then Victor would start rubbing his hands together quite happily. And I never really understood why until I asked him, what's going on? Why do you feel this way? And the bulk answer is large competitor traffic shows your niche has a lot of potential customers. It's a positive sign. It's a positive indicator that your search strategy, or let's say this, your niche can support an SEO strategy. It would be a much worse scenario if all your competitors had no traffic. If it was that the scenario, I'll be very scared to run an SEO strategy because there probably isn't enough demand in the market. That's usually happening when you're selling a solution which is completely new to the market. So if you invent something new, you're probably not going to have any competitors on SEO. And therefore, your solution traffic is very, very small and you're forced to go top funnel in order to find customers. So in summary, large traffic volume of competitors is a good thing. You should look forward to it and say, look, that's amazing. I therefore have a lot of opportunity. And if you continue to approach this with an abundance mindset, you can start to see some interesting things fall out as a result. Now, I probably said this, and then a lot of people went, and I'm going to paraphrase by reading all your minds, that all the sexy keywords I want to rank for have really high keyword difficulties, and therefore that's why everything's super competitive. So I've been looking at mortgage rates this last week, very competitive keyword. Ashwagandha, if you're in e-com, online pharmacy, if you're in that space, or driving course. Examples of keywords that are super, super difficult. And again, if you have a competitor with large traffic, high DR, and your keyword, if it's one of these, it probably isn't, or the keyword you're thinking about in your head is probably very high keyword difficulty. The one that, generically describes you. And you're probably scared from that. But the thing is, you got to approach the scenario in the idea or the ideology that each keyword's a pie. And you got to bear with me for a moment when I go through this. Position 1 only gets a quarter slice of the pie. So you guys might know these stats, but the general statistic is that you can break down click-through rates as a function of your position on Google. So say I search. So for Sam searches vegan footwear. Position 1's only taking a quarter of that search. And there is a lot more search there. And the second argument is there are loads and loads of pies. There are thousands of pies. We just proved it with the fact that your competitors have so much search volume. So you get loads and loads of pies. These guys are only taking a quarter of the pie. And it means that there is so much traffic volume left for you to serve. One, from the fact that these guys can't take the whole pie up themselves. And two, because there are lots and lots of other pies available, which they haven't even begun to rank for. This graph will take that very broad generalization a bit more mathematical, scientifically at least. If you were to analyze all the keywords, you will start to see that the majority are taken by long tail or middle tail keywords. It follows like sort of a power law distribution. So what you see is the majority of the keywords which you want to rank for or about are always going to be extremely, extremely competitive and have huge amounts of search volume. those keywords are taken by the incumbents, by the industry giants, but in reality only represent maybe 10% of search volume. It's pretty much insignificant compared to the opportunity you guys have. And again, that is why the industry giants, if they have a lot of search volume, it's only a positive sign that there is so much more to go after. So take it from a positive mindset, take it from an abundance mindset, that if they have a lot of search volume, that means there's a lot more to take as well. So these two arguments, if you were trying to negotiate internally and say you were, the 42% said they were thinking about an SEO strategy, if you're debating budgets internally and you have this scenario, these two are strong arguments for saying, look, we should go ahead with an SEO strategy. One is there's a lot of traffic on the table, which we should be picking up. And two, we shouldn't be fearful, but we should be abundant in the fact that there is so much long tail, high intent keywords to go after. So consider those 2 points there. That's describing the mindset you're coming into. So if that was a blocker for you doing an SEO strategy, we should remove that blocker. And then the second point is on the agenda, what are the actionable and savvy SEO tactics that actually outrank the big dogs? So now that we know the competitors are big, there probably is some search volume available to steal it from them. What actionable tactics can we go for it? So in that sense, let's kick it off. Tactic number 1, ethically stealing competitor brand traffic. So like Robinhood, we're going to steal from the rich, the very rich, well VC funded or public companies. I'm going to steal as much traffic and give it to you guys. So to go about ethically stealing competitor brand traffic, which is probably the number one or easiest way to get started with an industry giant strategy or a challenger SEO strategy, you first want to do the thing which everyone needs to do, which is learn how your customer searches. Your customer is really interesting. And for most people, they know who their ICP is. They have some sort of documentation in place that tells you, look, my customer is Mary. She's 42. She loves board games, so on and so forth. She has these pain points. She's used these incumbent solutions. But what we really care about is understanding how that customer searches. So the best scenario is you find a customer or a potential customer and you ask them to understand your industry and to find a good solution for whatever pain point you're trying to solve. And just watch them Google. Just watch them Google, watch them go through their journey learning and their process. It's really interesting when you do this to see what the search results are and which types of companies are coming first and above your company or any other solution. The point here is you could easily go and say, you go into your slide deck, you say, look, my competitors are X, Y, and Z. That's completely true. And that can be completely true from a business model perspective. But from an SEO perspective, you have to do all this research again, because the SEO competitor landscape is very, very different from your business competitor landscape. So as an example, I don't know, can you guys see Google right now? Victor, can you see Google? Yeah. So say we're in the scenario where we are a contract templating company. So we sell contract templates and we are looking for a contract signing solution. So we might go, what is online contract signing? Whatever. You do this search and you watch your customer search and you might see Juro here. We see HelloSign, DocuSign, Adobe, Signaturely. So we see some solutions. And the key point I want you guys to look at is, as you make these solutions, watch out for the competitors and watch out for the features that keep appearing. These define the industry to a new consumer. So a consumer that's never heard of your solution, that's completely top funnel, that's learning, every search they take defines the category in their mind. And it defines who the winner is in the category. And this is an idea of prototypicality. The first solution you see is generally the one people go for, unless something goes wrong in the decision making or someone does some great marketing. So we might see, like, there's an online contract signing. So there we go. We have some solutions over here. Go to inside uploading the contract. So then we might go, okay, we need to upload contract. Where to upload online contract? So you do this search and then you see some new the SERP resets again and you see DocuSign, Signable, HelloSign, Adobe. We see the same plays each time. DocuSign's becoming a category leader in my head. Instantly. How to send a contract. Job form. Sometimes they go to YouTube. They'll do a quick search there. They'll click on videos. You quickly have a look at Hujiro again, Signable, YouTube. You start to get an idea of who the market is and where it's playing. Okay, so I've gone to dark mode apparently. All right, so you do this search, you do this a few times, and you might go to online signing tool. And again, we see small PDF, we see DocuSign again, Signaturely. Zapier has now come out. Zapier now makes me think something's going on here, so maybe I want to go online signing tool, integrations, so on and so forth. Basically, as you do this and you watch a customer search, you begin to understand what the incumbent solution is and who's playing in the market. You then take all these branded keywords that you saw, and you then take all the interesting features which you saw, which was online signing, maybe creating a signature online, contract management, and you check them all in Ahrefs, you just filter for low keyword difficulty. Really simple search, but the key point here is we're basing the competitor list and the feature list on what we saw on Google and nothing else, completely ignoring everything else we know about the industry right now. Now, when you do this, you find some really interesting results. And I want to show you a really cool example of how Legislate won this place. So Legislate are a contract templating company. They helped us with this webinar, and they are really, really awesome at SEO. Legislate found that DocuSign was one of the incumbent solutions that was slightly related to their product. So when they saw that everyone was going for DocuSign, they started looking at all the interesting keywords around DocuSign and found out that what is the DocuSign keyword cluster was actually very easy to compete for. No one really wants to compete for this because it's not very commercial intent. It's really a brand awareness play, and it's very top funnel. But Legislate are able to rank on this page. They're DR54. They've only raised 1 million in seed, and yet they're appearing on the same page, very high at the top against a company that's raised $500 million. So they're putting their name out there that we exist and we are different, or we are similar in some ways to DocuSign. What I really liked about this scenario was Legislate have what is DocuSign and what alternatives are there. So as a meta title, it's really interesting because they've injected doubt and they've injected curiosity into the user's mind. It would have been even better if had they said, what is DocuSign and what better alternatives are there? Or what are superior alternatives? All they need to do is imply that DocuSign is not the best solution for someone at a top funnel search, and they will really benefit from consumers now making second or third Googles around DocuSign alternatives. Now, if Legislate are top for that, that's a really interesting place to be because they've created that fear, that doubt, and that curiosity. Legislate did the exact same thing again when they found a high intent keyword cluster. So again, imagine you were following that consumer around and you found out that they Googled WH Smith and there was something about tenancy agreements. If you look at this keyword cluster, it's 19 keywords and the volume is around 1,400. And after speaking to Legislate, this is actually a very high commercial intent keyword and it converts well into paying customers. So what's really cool is they are on that page and they're going Legislate versus WH Smith. And for those who don't know, WH Smith is quite a big retail company in the UK on the high street. So they're playing off the competitor branded traffic and they're converting well into customers and they're comparing themselves against the incumbent solution, which is awesome here. So yeah, Legislate versus the price for WH Smith per unit is just under £10. They're giving a nice solution answer to people that want to buy. And they're able to catch new customers. And so here are two great examples of what you can do when you look at the customer searches, chuck them into Ahrefs or SEMrush, and then start seeing where people fit in the funnel and creating very specific pieces just designed for that part of the funnel. You're playing off competitor branded traffic. You can sometimes find high intent or bottom funnel keywords that will pay into paying customers. Sweet. So this is Legislate, lawyer approved contracts and no budget. Again, we don't make any money out of this, but you get a 25% discount on their plans with this code. Feel free to use it. They're very, very good. So I showed you a lot here. If you want to screenshot anything, screenshot this. Tactic 1, cheat sheet, ethically stealing competitive brand traffic. If you do this exercise, which I explain, you'll start to see patterns. And after Victor's done it for like many, many years, he kind of knows all the patterns off by heart now. And generally the patterns that you see, which are quite interesting, are competitor A versus competitor B. So let's say DocuSign versus HelloSign. You might have DocuSign plus signature creation, best online tool or best contract signing tool. What is DocuSign, which you saw? Zoom pricing, Zoom discount, Zoom reviews. Imagine you were Google Meets and you were trying to take people off the Zoom. You can do an amazing play there. And what is wrong with competitor? So what is wrong with DocuSign? Some people do Google this, which is quite interesting. And that person is very much a healthy skeptic in the sense that they're looking for something wrong. And all you need to do is present yourselves in a positive light and you can really, really win a good play over here. So this is an awesome strategy. Really do consider using it, guys. Is there not a risk to using other brands' terms in the ad? Any legal risks? And how is that perceived by customers? Really good question, Christine. Sometimes there are risks with these other people's brand names. Sometimes they have trademark issues. It really isn't normally a problem. It's very rare to have a problem in that. So I wouldn't say there's a huge legal risk here. Customers, you're helping them make a decision. Customers like it. I really like a comparison landing page. If you load Zapier, I think basically lived off competitor landing pages. So it's a really good, interesting play to go. And Jeff, wait for the cease and desist. No one really has money to be, fighting a startup or a small player against this traffic play. It's completely irrelevant for them. They won't even notice is the honest answer. But yeah, Jeff, that's a great point. Eugene, of course, we can do that. Sam, so create content around those keyword formulas. Yes, this is just a cheat sheet. It's an example of what you can do. Don't just start from here and go onwards. Start at, step 1, do that research, and then go into using this cheat sheet to help you find great ideas. There are like 20 other keyword formulas, by the way, which we haven't shared, mainly because they don't have as much volume, but there are always interesting patterns to find. Rosie, are these blogs? Not necessarily. You can do landing pages for this. So let me go an example. Oh, I've given you tag 2 already. Let me move that way. So if I do Zoom versus Google Meets, I have no idea what's going to come up. So we have the ultimate guy meet trick. Pop up, feature battle. Okay, these guys are a blog page. That's interesting. If I do Zapier versus maybe. I want to find a specific example. You can now see my zaps. Integration. So Zapier are like amazing at using the branded keywords to build their own category. So it's a bit of a cheat example because they obviously live off integrations, but they live off brand traffic of other brands. So they're a great example. If you want to see exactly how to play the strategy, you could go onto Ahrefs, stick Zapier, and you'll see loads and loads of stuff. Let's say DocuSign versus Adobe Sign. Maybe there's something here. So PandaDoc, this is a great example. PandaDoc are ranking number 1 for Adobe versus DocuSign. Can we choose a winner? Injecting doubt. And PandaDoc are trying to compete with these 2 guys as well. So here we go. How we source the data. It's a blog page. This is quite difficult for me to get through. I'll be completely honest. If this was a table format, I would be much happier. A really simple table at the beginning saying DocuSign versus PandaDoc versus Adobe Sign. And if you could show me that Adobe Sign or PandaDoc was better, I would probably buy them. But you can do it this way for sure. And then try PandaDoc for free. The CTAs are there. I'm going to buy. Awesome. So that's strategy 1. You can play it in various ways. Here's your cheat sheet, which we will also forward around to you. There's a few questions about free keyword tools. My answer is pay for a keyword tool. I'll be honest. If you can't pay for Ahrefs or SEMrush, you probably shouldn't be doing an SEO strategy. It's the complete honest answer. For questions such as service businesses, jewelry shops, I'm going to show you guys, or Victor's going to show you some interesting strategies, which are maybe more relevant for you now. So Victor, do you want to pick up for tactic 2?
Yeah. I can add a little bit on free keyword research tools. Yeah, you should go with Ahrefs and pay for Ahrefs. But for people who want to just try, there is a demo. Usually on Ahrefs and SEMrush, sometimes it is, there is no. But you can try it for like $7 a week or something like that, and then go for paid subscription.
Yeah, I think the monthly starts at £79.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, definitely just go for it.
Okay,
yeah, Victor, go
so
for it.
thanks, Aman. I'll share my screen. You can see my screen now, yes?
Yeah. Actually, before you start, let me just do a quick poll. I'm curious, before we go into this, what's everyone's experience with SEO? Because I'm seeing quite a varied range of questions. So yeah, everyone, what's your experience with SEO? None. I know what it is and that's about it. I understand the basics. I'm confident with SEO, or I'm an SEO wizard and I've been doing SEO for over 5 years. Awesome. Great. So everyone's answered. So none. 9% have no SEO. So let's say 10% have no SEO experience. 20% know what it is, but that's about it. 50% understand the basics. Great. 20% are confident with SEO. Awesome. And then 2 people out of the group are SEO wizards. So you guys will hold us up to good accountability for sure. Awesome. Cheers. So yeah, there you go, Victor.
So tactic number 2 is ethically stealing competitors' keywords, and not just keywords, but maybe whole structure. And at this point, I need to explain, mention a really important thing, that if you don't have, it's like super basic stuff in SEO, but you really need to keep that in mind. If you don't have a page, which will be an answer for some search queries, you will not be able to get the traffic. And it sounds obvious, but when on practice, usually people kind of understand that, but not execute on that. And if you will build your SEO strategy with that in mind, that you need to have a perfect answer and relevant page for every specific cluster of search queries, keywords, you will do just much better in SEO. So stealing competitors' keywords. And why we have a bingo image here, because it's literally just going through your competitor and finding all the pages competitor has and you don't have. And let's get into it. And why we talk about this technique? Because it's really super powerful. And we had a new client 2 months ago with 10K in traffic value. Traffic value is how much money you need to spend on a Google Ads to get that amount of traffic from Google Ads or from Facebook. So at the start, we had 2,400 organic keywords and 2,400 organic traffic, and 10K in traffic value. And just in 2 months, we were able to increase traffic value to $46,000 monthly. It's more than 4x increase. And we got 3x increase in traffic and in keywords just in 2 months. And as you can see on this slide, we don't have 4x in amount of reference domains. DR stays the same. We have plus 10% in backlinks, but it's not about backlinks at this point. It's more about rebuilding structure, which I will explain right now. So how we did it? We find really big and huge competitors of our client. So our client has $10,000 monthly traffic, and here is a competitor which 0.8 million dollars in a traffic value, so much bigger. And we were going through all keywords, what competitors are ranked for. And we were able to find 30,000 keywords, which competitor ranked for, and our client is not ranked for yet. And just not because, and for a good reason, because our client was not implement all that pages relevant for that type of keywords on his website before. And then whole tactic, like you can screenshot that and I will show you a live example. You can go to hrefs.com or SEMrush and you can put your website domain there, open competent domains and content gap, pick a few successful competitors, put them into a content gap report, and you will be able to have a list of keywords that your website doesn't rank for, but your competitors do. Then filter out the irrelevant keywords and download keyword list and create clusters from that keywords. And I will show you just live example. I will take newoptima.com, our website, as an example. You can put your website here into Ahrefs and then go to these two tabs, competent domains and content gap. So I will open competent domains and content gap. And here you need to pick your target country. And for example, I'll go with this competitor and put it right here. This competitor, I'm just doing it a little bit randomly right now, but after your research, you will understand who your competitors are and you will pick right one. And after that, just press show keywords and choose a country again, United Kingdom. And I'll have, in this case, I have immediately more than 2,000 keywords, which our competitors are ranked for, but we are not. For example, Amazon warehouse deals or how to sell on Amazon or Amazon price tracking. And we can just download these keywords by this export button and cluster them. So group by search intent and then create a page on our website for every cluster. And just by doing that, we will be able to cover a lot of really important keywords and increase our traffic, our ranking as we've done that with our client on this slide. So let's go back to the presentation and walk through. So maybe some questions on
does anyone have any
topic?
Specific questions on tactic 2? So it's like playing bingo. You compare your site to competitors' sites. Okay. No real questions. This is really valuable in the sense that I don't know if you described this bit, but you also get to see competitor site structures. So sometimes you'll see that certain competitors follow certain strategies to make a lot of pages very quickly. So for example, we were speaking to a credit card company yesterday, and we were looking at the main page. I think it's Credit Karma. Credit Karma had creditkarma.com/best credit cards / and then they had every credit card from every retailer. They had the Amazon card, the Walmart card, the M&S one, the Argos card, and so on and so forth. And they created these landing pages, which were bringing in really qualified traffic and playing off branded keywords. And so when you're doing this research, one, you can look at it from a competitor lens, or from a keyword lens, but you can also look at it from what structure are your competitors using and then working out what they were trying to do. And you can very quickly work out by the call to actions on the landing pages if it's generating them revenue or not. And then you can target those ones too. So let's have a look at the questions we got so far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I can cover a few questions. So how big should be keyword cluster? So several people asked about that. It is not about finding all the keywords. It's about finding all the search intents. And you need enough keywords in your keyword cluster to make it super clear what page should be answering for. And it will be important when you will be creating that page, when you will design all the blocks on a landing page, when you will be sending tasks to a content writer. So you need to have like enough in terms of how many exact number, probably from 5 to 40 will give you and your content writers pretty good idea what they need to create the page about. And what keyword difficulty? It depends on a niche. It depends on your current domain rating. So, for example, you'll find a lot of keywords and in some niche, they will be from domain rating 0 to domain rating 50. So you probably should start with like from 0 to 20. But in some niches like SEO, it always will be like from 50 plus. So it depends on the niche. So yeah, I can go with tactic number 3.
Awesome.
So let's go to the slideshow. And tactic number 3 is about keywords which are missed by your competitors. So our presentation actually really is not just 3 different techniques which can help you. It's kind of steps. So first of all, you need to find and cover all that branded keywords because it's easy and it's really bottom funnel. Second, you need to get to that level when you have the same structure as your competitors. You covered all the pages which your competitors have. You kind of like behind them on that stage in terms of how good is your website structure. And after that, after you will implement all that pages your competitors have, like when you finalize all that bingo stuff, you get into a technique when you finding a lot of subcategories which your competitors missing. And the beauty of that is you establish you got some traffic on the previous stages, you establish some topical authority. So you rank for a lot of keywords in your niche. And when you just create a new page where you already have the topical authority and other keywords in traffic, where you just create a page which is not covered by your competitors, but you already have some trust from Google, you just immediately got to the first page. And that's why in our case studies, you can see like at the start, it is growing a little bit slow, but then you're kind of skyrocketing. So let's go to this technique. Usually, industry giants leave a lot of keywords untouched. So because of several reasons, sometimes that keywords are not just as obvious. Sometimes that keywords have smaller volumes, and sometimes they blocked by bureaucracy or blocked by a tech team or whatever. Not sexy enough for upper management. But the thing is, we feel like our big competitors cover a lot, but actually they cover just a little bit of real amount of keyword because there is a huge variety in keywords.
Yeah, maybe if you go back one slide, Victor. So we've chatted to loads of like CEOs and Series A, Series E, even public companies we speak to, and they have this huge bias for that top 100 keyword that they want. Like my competitor's ranking for this keyword, I got to have that competitor. I got to have that keyword. It's like, I want to call you a phrase, even like CEO ego or like business owner ego, that you want to have the biggest one to be known for it. But competing for that keyword is just not worth the effort all the time. Like you would make a lot more money by going down by one subcategory. So for example, forget the credit card keyword, go for credit cards for freelancers. That's suddenly so high intent, really, really interesting, but the business owner ego or the CEO ego won't let you touch it. And that's why these keywords are available. And that's why this next strategy is so interesting.
Yeah, 100%. So, and the great example is hotels, but it also works great in e-commerce, in directories, and all kind of niches in B2B as well. But let's go through this example in the hotel niche. So when we trying to get some traffic to a hotel, We obviously compete with Expedia, Kayak, Booking.com, and other like huge giants with a traffic like $50 million per month or 134 million per month dollars. It feels like there is no way you can compete with that kind of giants, but actually, uh, uh, with a HODL, you can create pages. Let's go for the next slide. Um, you cannot win probably keywords like hotels in New York or hotels in London because it's too hard to compete with Booking.com for that kind of keyword. But you always can go for best dog friendly hotel in some kind of city, best pet friendly hotel in London, or best hotel in New York for backpackers, or best hotel in London for I don't know, just married couples. Great niche, great example, and that's people with very high buying intent because they really understand what they need and they are looking for a solution. And if you have that product or that solution, what they need right now, they have much more chance to sign up or book a room or something like that compared to people from like just hotel in London or like hotel near Eiffel Tower or something like that. And the reason why, in this case, the reason why Booking.com and all other giants are not competing for all that keywords, just because it's literally impossible for them, but it's possible for you. And there is how. Booking.com work in like almost every country in the world, in every city, in every place. And it's physically impossible to find every single landmark, every single purpose, every single, I don't know, type of travelers, and create a perfect page for like, it is a literally billions of pages. But you as a hotel in a city, you understand your city and your audience and people who are visiting you and what they need much deeper. And you can go much deeper than a giant. And that's your kind of power in this situation. Another example is e-commerce. In e-commerce, this niche down technique is doing really good always. And the beauty of using this technique in e-commerce is you don't even need to write a content. So it's like easiest way to create the pages. For example, you have a website with it's, by the way, it's one of our clients as well. You have a page with a lot of wedding dresses, but there are people who are looking for specific wedding dresses with, I don't know, like vintage wedding dresses or wedding dresses with the flowers, like print or something like that. And if you will find all that uncovered search demand, and you will create a perfect page where they will be able to see only that types of wedding dresses they really need. You can just create that categories. You don't need to write a lot of content. You don't need to do a lot of work. You literally just adjusting your website structure to a search demand, and you instantly get into a first page. And in this case, with this client, we got 9x in traffic in a year. So technique is pretty good. Another great example is the B2B services, because before that, I was talking about like hotels and e-commerce and other B2C, and it feels like it's more like B2C, but actually this technique is the best way to work with B2B clients. And we have just amazing case studies with that. And I will give you an example and then explain a little bit about our case study. So let's go to Keyword Explorer and check word like cybersecurity keyword. It's really hard to get on the first page. You have some volume, you have some traffic potential. Global volume is good. But actually it's really hard to compete for this kind of keyword. And if you will start SEO in this niche and will be competing for this kind of keyword from the beginning, the time from beginning till time when you will have a leads from this keyword is just ridiculously long. But if you're, for example, will look for something like that, so cybersecurity services for, you will be able to find a lot of really niche keywords like cybersecurity for financial services or cybersecurity services for a small business. And if you create a page, which will be literally about cybersecurity services. So for example, you're a cybersecurity company and you will create a page about cybersecurity services for a small business or like for restaurants or something like that. And people who Google that have very high buying intent. They visit this page. And if you convince them that you are really good solution for their problem, they will probably just be your clients. And with, especially in B2B niche, we have an amazing example where we...
Oh, let's hold that example for later on.
Okay.
We got to be careful about that one, but yeah.
Yeah, I was not about like mention what's the page and what's the exact keywords, but yeah.
I've got a screenshot. We'll share it in a minute. I've got a screenshot.
Okay. Okay. So next slide is another example for I would have a client who is listing of broadband deals, and competitors may have like more obvious like Vodafone deals and broadband only deals, but they do not cover. At the first stage, we cover what competitors have already, but on the second stage, we cover, for example, Vodafone broadband only deals or Vodafone fiber deals. So we niching down and we showing people what they're really interested in. And all that page is showing just amazing conversion rate.
That's a really cool example. If you get back one slide, it's like your competitor has these 2 category pages and they haven't got the effort, well, they haven't got the time really to go like, let's go one level deeper, because there's no point you competing for Vodafone deals or broadband only deals. You might as well go for the Vodafone broadband only deals and combine those 2 keywords into this interesting match of high intent, but very long tail. Awesome. Awesome. Shall I share screen now, Victor?
Yeah. 1 second. Cool. Yeah, you should be able to.
All right. Sweet. Can everyone see my screen? Can I get some yeses, hopefully? Yes. Sweet. Awesome. So we've given you 3 tactics. We've given you the mindset and the abundance. There are like 2 more parts to this session. One, I'm going to go through budgets of an SEO challenger strategy, but I also so there's 3 more parts. I want to go through the budgets. 2 is I have seen some very specific questions, which I'm going to answer with some slides, which I've just quickly made whilst Victor's been talking. And 3, if you are open to staying on for like 20 minutes longer after the call ends, Victor and I will just take like 5 to 10 websites and give you 2-minute audits of your site, like super quick, just Victor having a quick look. So feel free to stay on beyond the next 8 minutes, but I'm going to try to be very quick now. So before I go into that, one of the great people that helped us with the event was Outfund. Outfund are a financing company. You can get loans in 10K to 10 million in 5 minutes, literally so fast. Have a look at that website if you are an online business model. So your SaaS, your e-com, maybe your coaching, maybe your courses. This is a really great opportunity for you to very quickly inject cash into your site. So feel free to look at that. But yeah, back to the budgets. This is a slide from our SEO Accelerator, which 80% of you did not attend. But there are 3 ways to approach SEO internally in your organization. The first is the most expensive, and it's what the industry giants are doing. They have a head of SEO, which feeds into a backlink specialist, a content editor, a dev or publisher. It's really expensive way. And if you're trying to challenge industry giants and you're early in your journey, you do not want to do that first way. It will easily cost you 20K a month. It will probably burn your SEO budget very quickly. The second way, which most people go for, is they use an SEO agency. It's fairly medium pricing, let's say, in terms of all the strategies. What you benefit from is SEO agencies generally employ the best SEO people, because those people are wanting to look to work on more projects. So Victor would be very bored if he was working on one project for one whole year. He probably would like throw his hands up and quit because he wants to work on more projects and further his own career. So that's why SEO leads at SEO agencies are very, very strong. And it's also the method that gets you the best sort of value to cost ratio. The final method, which we don't see very often, but some of our clients use, is where, as an SEO agency, Victor semi-acts as a fractional head of SEO. We tap into our content writers and the in-house content writers, which means that the overall cost base gets slightly cheaper for the client. This is because the main cost in SEO, don't let anyone tell you otherwise, the main cost is always content writing. Writing content is very expensive in the sense that that's the one thing that scales volume. Other than that, you're paying for the SEO leads time and then you're paying for backlink building. But SEO is the brunt of the cost. So hence why option 3 is generally the cheapest, but 80% go with option 2 in the middle. Budgeting, there are 2 ways then. As a challenger, you can either do it all in-house. And generally in these scenarios, the CEO becomes the head of SEO. This is because you've decided internally that SEO is a very good go-to-market strategy. That's very completely reasonable. Legislate did this technique. It was very good. Or B, you hire out to an agency. We do all this for you. If you can't afford at least 3K, definitely just go for A, but don't go and work for someone super cheap, under 3K a month. We have people come up to us saying, I spent £500 a month on SEO, nothing happened. And then Victor and I are like, well, no shit, you didn't spend enough money in the first place. So if you're not spending more than this, try do it in-house. Otherwise, then go to agency. And when you're ready to spend, say, 20K a month, then do it in-house. So there are various levels to the game. Awesome. So there were some questions that we had, and guys, I've gone through that very, very quickly, but there were some questions that we had. The first one was on quantity versus quality. So I'm going to try scroll up and find the exact question. And the exact question was, is quality over quantity better, or do you need both? There's blogs out there that push hundreds of pieces of content and take a spam approach. Some hit, some miss, but they aggregate views. What do you think? So there's this really interesting piece by HubSpot, and I'm going to plug one of our supporters of the webinar here. But HubSpot did this study of 7,000 sites, and they saw that very clearly there was a correlation between the number of pages you put up and the number of leads you get. So as Victor mentioned right at the beginning, if you don't have the page to rank for the keyword, you won't get anything in the first place. So there definitely is an argument for quantity. Like you need quantity to get leads. Now, this isn't saying that you can do a lot of quantity and have really shit quality, because then you'll never rank. So in our mind, it's not quantity better than quality. It's not quantity worse than quality. It's like quantity equals quality, where you got to do both at the same time. There is no like in between game here. Anyone that tries to purport the view that you should spam our pages will get deranked in a few weeks. Anyone that only does one blog piece a month will never get anywhere in the end anyway. So if you pragmatically want to generate sites very quickly, speak to us and speak to the.com. Awesome domain. Let me just send it in the chat. So it's the.com. You can like slug up really fast content pages really quickly, and we can work with them, and we've done that before. So it's a super interesting way. But generally, the more the better. The next question, which I saw, and it kind of relates to quantity versus quality, was like, what traffic volume do I go for? Looking for keywords. I'm showing you a page, which I didn't want Victor to show you guys. So I blacked out the name, and I really hope I blacked it out everywhere else. I think I have. So this page has only had 100 visitors since June, which is like abysmal for like an SEO point of view, but it booked in 2 calls, and those 2 calls resulted in closed deals, which now amount to 100K in revenue, one of which is a public company as a client. So this is an example to show you that it doesn't actually matter so much about the traffic on the keyword, provided that the keyword is of very high intent, or it's of high intent. So this is a really interesting example where Victor took one of the tactics in this session spun up a lot of pages. I think he spun up around 30 pages. And one of those pages by itself generated 100K. So you could say the ROI on that whole exercise was, say, 3K a page. Each page generated an average, and each page only cost us £300 to write. So you could say we had a 10x ROI on this whole exercise. So the person who asked quantity versus quality and traffic volumes, it's arbitrary to some degree. You need to do that keyword research and that search intent research. Awesome. We are literally at last minute. If you guys have to jump off, that's okay. We will send around slides. We will send around recordings. But Victor and I are probably going to stay on for at least 20 minutes longer. I'm going to pick up any questions that are left over. And we'll then review some sites as well.